Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I am here to share your daily aspects. Today is Monday, May 9, 2022. Friends, let's talk for a minute about the party at Taurus's house right now. Taurus is our fixed earth sign, and Taurus is ruled by Venus, that receptive facet of our lives. When the sun is in Taurus, our major life focus is likely to be on our physical resources and how we get them. We look around for sources for what we need that aren't variable or very much subject to change. This job can be made tougher when rebellion-minded Uranus is in Taurus, has been since 2018 and will be till 2026. Many of our reliable sources have become less reliable over the past few years, causing us the insecurity of having to find new ways to receive the goods that we rely on. Fortunately, Venus, ruler of Taurus, is currently transiting Aries, blending receptiveness with initiative. We are positively engaged right now in the shifting landscape of sources and resources. And there is something I haven't yet mentioned to you. This is that the North Node is currently in Taurus. Now, North Node and South Node can seem a little tricky to explain, but they're basically the polar opposite points where the plane of the moon's orbit around the Earth intersects with the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. These 2 points will appear from our perspective to transit their respective signs about every 18 months. And these points are polar opposites, like I said, so when the North Node is in Taurus, as it is now, the South Node is in Scorpio, directly on the other side of the sky from our perspective. But what does the North Node represent symbolically for our lives, and what does it mean for the North Node to be in Taurus? In symbolism, North Node is often depicted as a great serpent, like a dragon, and the North Node would be the dragon's mouth. In other words, North Node is the hunger we strive to satisfy individually and collectively. North Node in Taurus makes us voracious in the acquisition of material resources for the sake of our growth and security, even sometimes to the point of taking too much. So all of this stuff I've been saying about the focus on material goods and how we get them has been amplified since January when North Node shifted into Taurus, and is especially alive in our vision and efforts while the sun is in Taurus as well. Taken all together, I see that we are all highly engaged in the pursuit of those material resources that make us feel protected and supported. The shifting landscape of Uranus and Taurus is something we are empowered to manage well while we have the drive of the North Node behind us. Venus in Aries aids us physically and energetically in that drive, adding a great deal of initiative and even a sense of conquest to the gathering of our physical needs and desires to us. The waxing gibbous moon in Leo gives us drive and enthusiasm to act toward the culmination of our goals. When it shifts to Virgo, we may notice a shift to a more detail-oriented or problem-solving mode. Diligence, either way, is the word for the day. Solar Beltane began last Sunday. We are now beyond the solar midpoint between spring equinox and summer solstice, and still approaching the lunar midpoint, which comes up this Sunday with the full moon in Scorpio, where the South Node happens to be, and we will talk about that. It is poetic, I think, that the solar midpoint landed at the new moon and the lunar midpoint comes 2 weeks later at the full moon in Scorpio on May 15. This is a perfect space of time, aligned with the creative cycle we observe from the moon's phases, to culminate our first steps toward the more expanded life experience we seek. We have given thought to what more we need. We now begin to lay the plans, and between now and the full moon, we have time to achieve something that truly will set us substantially on the new path. It's important at this time to celebrate our material resources, our bodies, our jobs, our businesses, the people who keep us in business, the sources of our livelihood. These are the subject of our rituals and prayers for strength and increase at this time of year. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into the aspects, but first I will point out the handcrafted key on the right-hand side of the page Most of the symbols on the page have made it into the key, so if you desire a point of reference, it's right here. I have otherwise divided the page into 2 columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon is the luminary that sheds light on our inner lives. This is your relationship with yourself, what it feels like for you to be in your body, heart, and mind, and in your home. The transits and aspects the moon makes are all very brief, and they have a subtle impact on those things you think, feel, know, and intuit, but may choose whether to express. The sun is the luminary that sheds light on our outer lives. This is the outward expression of yourself in the world, specifically in your work, social, and civic spaces. And I address the sun and the rest of the planet's movements on this side because these have a greater effect on that outward expression. And we begin on the moon side today at 7:38 this morning, Central Standard Time, friends. Moon goes in opposition to Saturn. Cancer, Leo, Capricorn, and Aquarius would be the most likely to notice this, but of course all of the aspects are for everyone. It's as though at this point we don't know how to focus on our feelings, intuitions, and home life if we also want to focus on the structures we rely on for support and the work we have to do. Don't allow yourself to be conflicted. Just do one or the other. This vibe lasts a couple of hours at most. The moon is void, of course, today for 10 hours. So surely we'll have some time during this period of time when the inner life is less influenced by either sign to dive into those creative and intuitive practices. Write in the journal, meditate on your personal mysteries, and have the important conversations you need to have with yourself and spirit for your own progress. Then the moon makes ingress to Virgo at 5:53 this evening. When moon goes into Virgo, which is our mutable, dispersing earth sign ruled by Mercury, we look around for ways to distribute our physical resources that help ourselves and others solve problems and realize goals. This is a 2.5-day transit. On the sun side of the page today, in the ongoing column, Mercury, sextile Venus, will be with us a couple of days longer through the 11th of May. This has been, for a while, bringing us these positive cooperative vibes between the intellect and our ability to attract what we need and desire. Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, and Libra have ruling planets here. We're now empowered to negotiate the terms by which we receive attention, affection, compensation. Please be realistic. Please take inflation into account. Please take into account all the different kinds of labor you are doing for others. Ask for what you truly need. If Venus doesn't get the sense that there is balance in these relationships we have, then there's going to be trouble. So advocate for yourself at this time. Now is the time to do that and have really positive outcomes. Through May 13th, Mars is sextile to Uranus, and this is adding another layer of positivity, fun, and grace as we go through our shifts and changes. Aries, Scorpio, and Aquarius may especially notice this vibe. We're graced with quick, intuitive decision-making and an ability to enjoy ourselves as we take action and make changes to shape our lives in the way we'd like to see them. Mercury sextile Jupiter, here with us through the 28th of May. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces may notice this the most. This month we have exceptional mental clarity regarding the big picture in our lives. It's time to articulate our bigger, badder, more complex and satisfying plan, the one that we envision for ourselves and our loved ones. We need to lay it all out on the table and pay attention to the details. Again, our efforts are blessed with positive outcomes. Sun sextile Mars will remain in aspect here through June 4th. Aries, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio have ruling planets here. This influence wants us to feel alive and juiced up with energy to act, to pursue, and to satisfy our physical drives. So you see you've got, Mars here in 2 places in these sextile positions. Mars is traditionally cooperative and competitive, right? So if you look at it from the perspective of Mars being a warrior, yes, Mars is a competitor, against their enemy, but also a cooperator with the people who are on their side, right? So this cooperative vibration, Mars really embraces it and gets to work with the cooperative side of taking action. This is cooperating with the impulse to make changes, and this is cooperating with the impulse to do what it is that we really want to do with our lives, to see ourselves the way we want to be seeing ourselves in our lives. So, we have this really good energy here that says we can act, we can shift, and we can make changes, and we can improve our lives, both inner but also outer, that work, social, and civic life. We can take action there to improve things for ourselves. Mercury trine Pluto is here with us through June 19. Gemini, Virgo, and Scorpio probably will notice this the most, but again, all the aspects are for everyone. This aspect reinforces the fact that this is an ideal time to share our thoughts and plans with others. We can be very persuasive of this time because we are also capable of seeing through to the core of things and speaking to what's important. So we have good insight. We know what's important to us. We have good insight into other people and into situations and circumstances we find ourselves in or having to address. And having that deep insight, we're able to sort of see the truth and speak the truth and be persuasive about what will be the best move going forward. You see this, we're still in this Mercury. We've got so much sextile on the page, which is very cooperative and dynamic. It generates good outcomes. It does something for us. And then this trine, Mercury trine with Pluto, this is our intellect, really, harmonizing directly with our internal sense of self and those deep transformational energies. So, we can talk about the transformations we're going through and the transformations we would like to see ourselves going through, and we can know that positive things will come from those conversations and plans and analysis, for that matter. Pluto is retrograde through October 8th. Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio, but it impacts us more on a collective level than simply on the individual level. That's because Pluto's transits are 25 or 30 years long. So, if your Pluto is in a certain sign, there's 30 years of people, adjacent to your age that are also in the same Pluto sign. So these things just impact larger groups of people and not just on the individual level. So if you realize that you're going through transformations, and hopefully you do, then you also realize that the people around you are transforming and evolving as well. We're kind of all going through these big sort of life-changing circumstances at this time. And at this time, it's happening on the inside. Pluto's retrograde is about 6 months out of every year. So 6 months of the year, we're doing transformation out in the outer life. And then 6 months out of the year, those transformations come in and affect us on the inner life. And we've got to go through those changes as well. So when Pluto is in retrograde, and this is Pluto's final retrograde in Capricorn. I know I keep repeating that, but I don't think that you can say it enough because, again, Pluto has been in Capricorn for over 25 years. This will be Pluto's final retrograde in Capricorn before next March, where Pluto actually shifts into Aquarius. Okay, so we're going to be getting out of that mode of transforming our foundations and our traditions and into more of a mode of transforming society. So I don't know if that's going to make it easier on us or harder on us, but this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is bringing in intensity as we go through these shifts and changes in our internal sense of tradition and what works for us to achieve our goals and to build strong things. This is also a time when things that don't work, like bad habits, toxicity in our relationships, poor money management, these things will be painfully clear to us. I'm going to say clearly painful to us, either way. So, Jupiter was just yesterday sextile to Pluto. That was giving us grace to move through these changes as we make them as early as we can. When we see when we see the opportunity to step in the right direction of our higher, more authentic version of ourselves, then we have to take those opportunities, okay? Tomorrow, Mercury will enter its second of 3 retrogrades this year, bringing in 3 weeks of potential for shakeups, misunderstandings, and miscommunications in our ability to think and plan and get our point across. So, look out for that. And often what comes up for me when Mercury is in retrograde, not that I'm wishing it on myself or anyone, is it can be difficulty with electronics, because we all use a lot of electronic gear right now. And that has a lot to do with communication. This is how I communicate with you, in fact, and it's also how you receive the communication that I put out. It's how we do a lot of our communication right now. So, take good care of your electronic equipment, be patient with it. Sometimes things just mess up while Mercury is in retrograde. And then the other thing that I notice when Mercury is in retrograde is that sometimes I'm not listening. So no matter how good a communicator I seem to think that I am, and I do think of myself as a good communicator, sometimes I'm really just not paying attention to what the person next to me is saying to me. And, it's not really a conversation if I'm communicating everything I think, but I'm not really listening. I'm not, engaged in that conversation. So just remember, communication includes listening, so try to be a good listener while Mercury is in retrograde. Also, tomorrow, Jupiter will make ingress to Aries, bringing this growth and expansion vibe to our capacity to act. So Aries is very action-oriented. It's ruled by Mars. It's physical. It speeds things up. It just moves forward. And, this is great when linked up with Jupiter. When Jupiter is in Aries, then we're just going to be seeing our growth and expansion in a really active and physical way. And that's great. That's going to feel great. I have a feeling. And then this coming Sunday brings the full moon in Scorpio, which is also lunar Beltane, or the moon's midpoint between equinox and solstice. Additionally, we can all observe a lunar eclipse that night. That will be visible in Central Standard Time just after 11 p.m. And friends, that's it for today's astrology. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please like my video, subscribe, and click the notifications bell. I post here every day, and I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. And friends, I truly appreciate it so much when you comment to ask questions or provide encouragement. I am encouraged, and I delight in the questions. And it isn't just gratifying for me to know that you're listening, but it lets YouTube know that you're engaged in the content, and that matters a lot as well. So thank you for that. Also, if you know anyone for whom this guidance may resonate, I encourage you to share. Now I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk about Tarot as it relates to astrology today. First, I will discuss the Tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I will do a quick rundown of today's astrology before throwing a random card that hopefully speaks to today's energies. So let's go ahead and get into that. The Tarot card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Six of Pentacles. And this is the card that represents the second 10 days of the sun's transit through Taurus. So each tarot card, each numbered tarot card represents 10 days out of the calendar year. There are 36 of them, and so that makes up a 360-degree wheel, right? 3 10-day segments in Taurus. This is the second one. This is the card that represents that second 10 days of the sun's transit through Taurus. And the Six of Pentacles is an earth vibe, just like Taurus is earth, right? And earth is about our physical resources. It's about what you have that you can put your hands on. Your body, your possessions, and also, your money, your wealth and finances. So often we just say health, wealth, and finances, but it's what you physically have in the world to aid you in getting, further closer to what you need. So Six of Pentacles is a time when a person has, come into an abundance of physical resource. You can see that this person is well dressed, and they have a lot of coins, and they've got the scales here, and they're sort of giving gifts of gold to people who are obviously a little less advantaged than they are. All right, so this is your reminder that if you have a good physical resource, and it doesn't have to be money, if you've got a lot of money in the bank, definitely share that resource, because a lot of people need money these days. Everything is going up has been going up in terms of cost. I hope it levels out soon. But at this time, if you are affording things very well financially, it might be a good time to look around and see where you can spread your resources. What was that in the movie Hello Dolly? Like money's like fertilizer. You've got to spread it around to make things grow, right? The financial wealth here says, I have grown strong myself. I have put down roots and made a physical, financial success of myself. And, it would only be fair. That's what the scales are about. It would only be balanced for me to now share the resources I have with other people so that I can be engaged in them, helping them to grow and expand and become more secure as well. If the physical resource you have is, access to food, then please give some food away. And if the physical resource that you have is your body and your excellent health, definitely there are things we can use our body to do to show up for other people in terms of, our physical strength or just our capability over and above the people that we're trying to help, right? So, be the strong foundation that other people can rely on, just a little bit in this world. If you've got an abundance, it's time to think about sharing. And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Taurus, and the sun in Taurus is sort of the midpoint between spring equinox and summer solstice. So here we are at the end of spring, beginning of summer. The seeds we planted have grown into small plants. They're taking root. The leaves are growing big and green on the trees. It's all very lush and green outside right now where I am. And, we take in, in Taurus, we think about and we take in the physical resources that we need in order to grow strong. So it is very much about how we receive what it is that we need and desire so that we can be and feel supported and secure in our lives and in our growth. Uranus is also in Taurus, and this indicates a shifting landscape in terms of the sources from where we get the material things that we need. And that's been going on since 2018. It's going to be going on till 2026. So just understand that is a shifting landscape. If you're living in the world as an adult, you're probably very aware of it anyway. And so, we have to be flexible and ready to to get our stuff from different sources if the source that we're using has dried up somehow. And also, we talked today about North Node in Taurus. North Node is that thing in our lives that we voraciously strive after. So North Node right now is in Taurus, and we do voraciously sort of strive after the material resources that we need to feel supported and to feel strong and secure in our lives. And nothing wrong with that. Just remember that, if you are well-resourced enough that you have more than you need, it's important to share. Sharing is caring. The waxing gibbous moon in Leo shifting to Virgo later this afternoon. This is a great time because Leo is like the fire that keeps things going. Leo has the drive and the enthusiasm to help us see our way through to our goals. And then when it shifts into Virgo, we can really solve problems. We can make changes to the plan as we need to do so. And, continue to move toward those goals because we have the ability to sort of disperse resources toward the culmination of our goals. And when I say disperse resources, that can be like, go ahead and book the hotel room or rent the car, or it can mean like, okay, so we need to go ahead and buy the groceries for this thing that we're doing in a couple of days, that kind of stuff. Dispersing the resources, taking what you have and giving it out so that you can get back the thing that you want to, or get to the goal you want to get to. On the moon side of the page today, we start out a little conflicted or unsupported if we allow ourselves to be conflicted between doing our responsibilities and enjoying our heart and home life. There might be sort of at opposite ends of the spectrum for us today. So just focus on one thing. It's only a 2-hour aspect, and whatever it brings up, you can actually use that 10-hour void of course to get into your intuitive and creative practices, have those important conversations with yourself, your ancestors, with spirit, so that you can sort of move forward from that feeling of being stuck between the two, or if we move forward from that feeling of conflict at all. And then when the moon goes into Virgo, again, we get to that point where we are in problem solving mode, that last 2.5 days. And, mutable earth disperses physical resources. So that's where we're at for that. In the waxing crescent, so, sort of taking action toward our goals, dispersing resources, right? Then on the sun side of the page, we didn't have any current aspects, but we have plenty of ongoing aspects. Mercury, sextile, trine, okay? So very cooperative, even ideal, positive functioning of our ability to think, plan, and communicate, to run around and do the things that we need to do. And our conversations and our plans are all surrounded this expanded sense of who we can be, do what we can be, do, and have this expanded sense of what it is that we need in order to feel supported and right in the world, and also the transformations, the endings and beginnings that we know are coming up for us. We're able to plan for them, and when we can plan for them, then we have this really positive advantage as we go through them. Also, a couple of aspects with Mars, both cooperative. Okay, Mars wants to be cooperative with Uranus, making things playful and fun, and giving us a little grace and even speed in our ability to make changes, make the small changes we need to get toward our goals. And then that Sun sextile Mars, really just positive, working between our outer life, our expression in the world, and our ability to act. So we're going to express our security through action, and it's going to bring about a good outcome for us. And then just a reminder, Pluto is retrograde, will be retrograde through October 8th, so for quite some time now. And that just tells us that, Pluto's always got these transformational energies. They're slow working, they affect a lot of people, not just one person at a time. And when Pluto is direct, it's transformation of the outer life. When Pluto is retrograde, it's more transformation of the person, the people that we are inside. And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this card. Whoa, friends, we got the devil. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind, because I have this word playful up here with Mars, okay? The devil usually, astrologically, sort of symbolizes Capricorn, which would be more of a Saturn energy, but because the focus is on material stuff, okay? The devil can be very materialistic, and materialism can bring about not just sort of like a greedy frame of mind, but an addictive frame of mind. If you think in terms of, like addictions to substances, substances are materials that we have to get our hands on in order to satisfy that need, right? But also the devil can represent a really playful attitude, okay? It doesn't have to be an evil omen. It can just say, like the devil is action oriented and the devil likes to be playful. And it's okay to have a little bit of fun as you are pursuing your goals. It's okay to be a little bit playful, and feel that physical grace as we move through these changes. Just remember, that the resources that we are working to draw in right now, they're not supposed to be about things that hold us back, okay? They're not supposed to be about those substances that we are addicted to, or, whether that be some sort of a drug or whether that be a materialistic thing, like, there are people who don't feel good unless they got to shop today. There are people who buy things they only need temporarily just to satisfy an urge. So, be careful about the materialism and be careful about the substance abuse when you're in the pursuit of your goals, when you're trying to draw in your resources. I think everybody has I think almost everybody has a little crutch that they lean on in those terms, but, we have to be really balanced, okay? when negotiating our terms, the terms can't be all about those things we just want, okay? It has to be also about what we need to help us feel strong and supported, okay? And the devil, taken together with the Six of Pentacles, gosh, I would say that is a reminder, sort of like Jupiter, when the moon goes into opposition or conflict with Jupiter, we have this reminder not to overindulge other people, right? So, if you have a physical resource, if you have health, wealth, finance, share it with others, but don't be an oversharer, okay? We don't want to create a sense of imbalance where people feel like they owe us more than they can possibly repay us, right? So, don't let the devil, don't let this this playful part of you, like give somebody too much rope, or give somebody, more than they feel like they can that they can pay back, because then that puts them in a kind of a negative mindset, like, oh, I'm never going to get to where I need to go as long as I keep owing this person for their kindness, right? I think that's all I have to say about that, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your presence. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.